Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back, or welcome if you are new. Hope you are having a fantastic day. In this video, I want to share a post-burn review of Kringle Candle Whiskey and Embers. This was a new release for fall 2025. I have mostly been enjoying this candle out in the backyard for the last several weeks here because honestly, while I don't mind a boozy note or two in home fragrance these days, a more just straight up boozy type of fragrance is still a little bit outside of my comfort zone. And so this one I think has just been a better experience for me in an area where there is a little bit more airflow. When I am saying that I am burning this candle outside in my backyard, I should probably explain that we have a covered patio. There is a fireplace out there. We hang out in our backyard basically year round, so it's not like this candle is really necessarily sitting out in the elements. It is a very protected area, so it's actually great for utilizing home fragrance that either is a little bit too potent to enjoy inside the house, or maybe it's a fragrance that is just a little bit more outside of my wheelhouse, but I still want to be able to experience the fragrance overall. Burning candles like that in the backyard has been fabulous for me. And I will say, I think that honestly, my husband and his friends have also enjoyed this one. It really is a little bit more of what I would call probably like a masculine type of fragrance. I don't know why I equate, boozy scents with more masculine fragrances, but that's what my brain does. Probably because my husband drinks whiskey. I do not. Whiskey's a little tough for me, but my husband definitely does have a decently sized whiskey collection, and he enjoys kind of sharing that with his friends periodically, and then, they'll do whiskey talk in the backyard. So anyway, this has been great for those evenings there. But would I ever burn this in my house? Probably not on a regular basis, but I do think there are people out there that do really enjoy these boozy scents. And if that is you, you might want to stay tuned for this review. But let's go ahead and get into all of the details regarding this whiskey and Embers fragrance. Kringle has now released a few of these very boozy forward fragrances. In the recent past here, we have seen scents like this in the Reserve line. And I really do think, as much as this is not a fragrance category that I am super comfortable with, I do think that they do a very good job with the overall, I guess, fragrance experiences with these particular scents. I just think they are very accurate, definitely spot on in terms of what the fragrances are trying to mimic. So yeah, I think they've kind of figured out a system for these boozy scents. And if this is a fragrance category that you really like and you've never tried any of these particular scents from Kringle, I would definitely suggest checking them out. I'll try to list a couple of other more boozy forward fragrances that I've reviewed in the past in the description box. So check down there. A number of those should probably also have individual reviews attached as well. So if I can remember, I'll also attach those reviews as well. But let's go ahead and dig into Whiskey and Embers. So they say that this fragrance captures the quiet crackle of a fire on a crisp autumn night, where smooth whiskey and warm tonka drift through the air. Smoldering wood smoke and spice unfold at the heart, evoking flannel, flame, and falling leaves. Grounded in amber and rich woods, it leaves behind the scent of smoke-kissed memories. I'm chuckling because once again, we have amber. Someone at Kringle loves their amber and they put it in everything. All right, the top notes here are whiskey and tonka. The mid notes are wood smoke and spice. And at the base, we have that popular amber note as well as wood. So what do I smell here? All right, this is one of those fragrances where I really only actually detect a couple of the notes that are mentioned. There are several other notes that I just, no matter how many times I stick my nose into the wax or over the candle while it's burning, I just don't smell these things. So let me tell you the notes that I do not actually smell in here. I don't smell any amber. For once, I do not smell that warm, perfumey, kind of cozy, resinous amber. I don't smell it. I don't know. To my nose, it's not in here. Spice. I don't actually get anything spicy about this fragrance at all. There's no cinnamon, there's no star anise, there's nothing. I don't clove. I don't smell any spice in here. Also, the wood smoke. Now, wood smoke is one of those notes that Kringle uses, I wouldn't say super frequently, but they've used it in a number of fragrances in the past. And I have very distinctly smelled that wood smoke in the past. I don't get wood smoke here. I also just in general don't get a lot of woodiness from this fragrance. So let's talk about what I do smell. And what I do smell is whiskey. There is a very strong, very potent boozy whiskey note here. And I smell that tonka. The tonka, basically to my nose, I've always described it as a like unsweetened, deeper, darker, vanilla type fragrance. It's got some creaminess to it, but it's not like the typical sweet vanilla bean that I'm talking about a lot when it comes to gourmand fragrances. This is very different from that. This is like they took the vanilla, they took the sweetness out, and then they somehow, oops, sorry about that, that was my phone. And then they somehow just concentrated that vanilla more and just made it smell deeper, richer, darker. So those are the two notes that I get here. This is like a 2-note fragrance to my nose. So pretty darn basic or straightforward, if you will. And just a little too boozy. Listen, other boozy fragrances that Kringle has done in the past have had some other components that add a little something else to the fragrance. Maybe a little bit of sweetness, maybe a little bit of perfuminess, maybe a little bit of woodiness. And I think that for me, that I prefer to be able to smell some other notes rather than just that straight up like booze. And the tonka. Don't get me wrong, it's a nice tonka, but I feel like this needs something else. So to my nose, it just smelled a little bit too harsh to burn indoors. But outside in the backyard, I feel like this fragrance is just a little bit more enjoyable. And according to my husband, he actually has said that this is a really nice scent. Honestly, I think that Craig probably prefers fragrances like this versus the really like sweet scents that I unfortunately tend to gravitate a little bit more towards. I think my husband really likes fresher scents. I think he likes more outdoorsy scents. So not that he really, you know, puts his 2 cents in too terribly often when it comes to home fragrance choices. He is always happy to let me enjoy my hobby. But, you know, it is kind of nice when I can find something like this that he actually just kind of gravitates towards a little bit more naturally. So anyway, I don't know that I'm necessarily going to repurchase this one. I'll definitely ask him if he wants another one, but he's practical, so he's probably gonna say, nope, that's fine. Just find another candle to put out here. You've got about 8,000 other candles, so just find another one that you already have to put out here. But yeah. Anyway, if you're looking for just a true whiskey and tonka scent, you should try this one. In terms of strength and throw, now I am rating this based on how it's doing in our backyard. And I would say the strength would probably be along the lines of maybe like a 6. It's actually not quite as like potent as I thought it would be. Now I have also burned it inside once, and I'm obviously burning it inside right now. So I would actually say that the strength of a 6 holds burning inside as well. It's not as crazy potent as you think it might be based on the boozy note, actually. I don't mind this slightly reduced strength here. Just because, again, this isn't in my usual wheelhouse, so something a little more subtle is a little more appealing to me. In terms of throw, I'm gonna give that about a 6 as well. In the backyard, we definitely smell it all around the, covered patio. If I am walking around other parts of the yard, depending on how the wind is blowing, it can certainly carry the fragrance a little bit. And in the house, I would say this mostly stays contained where I'm burning it. It does start to travel outside of those immediate areas, but it's not crazy potent. If you are afraid that this is going to like completely take over your house, I can tell you that in this 2-wick format, don't think that's gonna be a problem. Don't know how that would translate into the 4-wick, but for what it's worth, I would say pretty average, lower medium strength and throw here. Burn quality has not been an issue at all. I do have some things that kind of are floating in the wax. Some little bugs that have ended their lives in the wax pool. So, but I am gonna go ahead and turn the candle to the side so that you can see that it actually has had a really nice clean burn otherwise, besides the dead bugs floating in there. But yeah, nice, clean, solid burn here. I do have to trim the wicks between each burn. They do get some decent sized carbon balls, so trim those wicks. And this has been burning about 4, maybe 5 hours at a time in the evenings when we're sitting out back, and no issues. So I think my biggest issue is some nights we've had some wind and, like one side of the candle or the other has had a little bit more of an issue pulling out, but that's more of a problem with the fact that I'm using this outside of the house. Like it doesn't, have the wind protection. I have something else in my hurricane outside. So this has just been sitting on our back table there. But yeah. Anyway, you guys, those are my thoughts on the Whiskey and Embers. Probably not a repurchase for me, but if you like those boozy scents, I think this one is probably worth checking out. Again, I'll try to provide some links for some other boozy fragrances that I have reviewed from Kringle in the past, so check the description box for those links. I appreciate you guys being here. Subscribe if you are new. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Toodaloo.